beautiful. I am the color of beautiful. So beautiful. The color of beautiful.
Dark and lovely, I am the color of beautiful. Wonderfully made, color of beautiful. God made me
I stand in my space, the color of beautiful. When I look at my face, the color of beautiful. In every place, covered in God's grace, every dream I chase, no longer displaced, disgraced, or misplaced. I just embrace that I am the color of beautiful. Good afternoon. Welcome to Beautiful Color Conversations. My name is Dr. Karen Moore. I am the founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful, global spoken word initiative and movement. And we are so honored to have you here with us today. I Am the Color of Beautiful. We are focused on eradicating colorism in communities of color across the globe. And we do that by dialogue and workshops and panel discussions and this show. So today we are so honored to have with us Donyelle Shorter, image and style consultant. We are so honored to have her here with us today, and we're going to welcome her to the show now. Donyelle Shorter.
Hello,
Hi,
you?
how are you, beautiful?
I'm so good, Dr. Karen. Thanks so much for having me today.
I'm so excited to have you here. I'm going to read Donyelle's bio, and then we are going to get started with our conversation. Donyelle G. Shorter, founder and visionary of Imagery, the premier image consulting firm, established this distinguished company in 2006. She was born with an eye for style and great compassion for helping people. As early as middle school, she desired to blend out of the crowd by presenting a creative yet polished image. Donyelle created a synergy between her love for fashion and her compassion for helping others by entering into the fascinating world of image consulting. In the fall of 2003, Donyelle enrolled in the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City and graduated with her certificate in image consulting at the end of 2005. Donyelle refined her talent of creating impactful images for both men and women by sitting under the tutelage of inspirational instructors Pamela Macklin, creative principal, Dominique Specchi, image communication strategist, and Carlton Jones, celebrity fashion stylist. Donyelle specializes in molding the appearances and brands of business moguls, inclusive of CEOs, corporate presidents, and other business executives, along with political movers and shakers, professional athletes, and entertainers. Donyelle delights in taking the stress out of getting dressed for her clients, allowing them to project a positive self image, empowering them to accomplish their goals through one on one consulting or in a group setting via Imagery's customized professional image training seminars. Donyelle's belief of give and it will come back to you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, running over, is what propels her into the community to be her brother's and sister's keeper. She volunteers as a mentor with the New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission, delivering career enrichment workshops, teaching her riveting Fashion 101 course, and holding monthly church services with incarcerated teens at various youth facilities throughout the state. In 1999, Donyelle earned a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, making the beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Donyelle Shorter. Yes,
Hello, man. That was a lot. I feel a little humbled in that.
well, you've done a lot. And that's a blessing. That's why I wanted to read all of it because that's who you have become. That's
Yeah,
who
but
you
that's it.
molded
Still is uncomfortable.
yourself to be. That's who you molded yourself to be. And so I wanted to read all of it so that everyone knows the full range of your talents, of your accomplishments. So we're going to talk about colorism. And so what I'd like you to do is to share with us your experience with colorism.
I, you know, when you ask me this question, it's like so many memories just kind of pop into my mind, and unfortunately, colorism started probably once school started. Once you kind of entered into the public school system, you started realizing that there were some differences between how I may have been treated and some of my friends may have been treated. I mean, I remember I lived in the suburbs here in New Jersey, and I went to a predominantly white middle school, elementary school. So unfortunately, I didn't see a ton of people that looked like me through the hallways. And then when we did, we kind of all stuck together. But one of the vivid memories that I had was just starting to that whole he likes me, she likes you, that school age, love affair. Um, in the middle school years, it wasn't. I didn't have a lot of people sending me little notes. You remember, it was like, "Hey, do you like me? Check the box." I didn't get that. Now, I did see that my lighter skinned girlfriends were always getting those little notes and getting the from the boys within the school. So it was about that middle school time frame that I started realizing that there were some differences, and that my complexion um, did not, I guess, get me some of the attention that I may have desired, or my complexion got me some attention that I did not desire, like the name callings. You can probably, probably people that are listening are very familiar with the term darky, and you would hear that, or you would hear blackie, all the time. So, what does that do to you as a child? You begin to think that the skin you're in is not good, and it's not valuable because the sun kissed it a little bit longer than somebody else. I remember going into high school, and in high school I went to a school that was filled with more colorful faces, and I kind of started feeling home, kind of feeling good within my skin. But I joined the marching band. I was on the color guard, and we would go to band camp. I don't know where my band camp folks are, color guard folks are, but band camp was dead of summer. Right before getting back into school, you were out in the sun for hours, and being out in the sun, what does that do? That darkens your skin. So we were ridiculed. I just remember my siblings. I have an older sister, younger brother. We were just ridiculed because our skin got darker. So, again, the phrases such as darky and blacky, and those were some of the things that you dreaded most about going to band camp, was that, oh my gosh, I'm going to get so much darker than everyone else, and it is going to be something that is going to be poked at and looked at, like, oh my God, look how black you are. And of course, saying it in those type of terms does not make you feel good about being dark, right? And it started to get a little bit better. I had the pleasure of being homecoming queen for my high school, and but it was there in high school that there were more people that looked like me that were appreciative of the skin color. You would see the cheerleading teams filled with brown skin girls, which was encouraging, right? You would see them, in the school superlatives as the most beautiful or the most attractive or the most liked, and that was good. That started to encourage the self-esteem that black was good and it wasn't a bad thing. So I mean, those are just some experiences. When I eventually got to college, one of the reasons why I chose to go to a historical black college and university, because most of my education was within, whiter spaces, right? And I wanted to really just become inundated and consumed in my heritage and my culture. So I headed down south, and the second I felt like I landed on A&T's soil, I felt at home. I felt valued. I felt appreciated. I saw people that looked like me, dark, light, every spectrum of melanin possible was there. And we all had something valuable to bring. Not to say that colorism didn't exist there, because it absolutely did. I saw it, number one, in the sorority in which I chose. I'm a member, a very proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But as many of you guys know, back in the day, there was a brown paper bag test that was real. And that if you didn't pass that test, my mother told me herself, she's a member of the organization, so I'm a legacy, that they had to pass that brown paper bag test. My mother is a little bit lighter than me. I get all my juicy color from my daddy. But that was a thing. So when I remember vividly coming out on the yard after crossing, and I was excited. I was just, yes, the world, you better just take all this, AKA, right? People were shocked. They looked at me like, oh my God, I never thought you would go AKA. And I was kind of shocked to hear it. They were just like, well, because you're dark skinned. I just thought for sure, my chocolate girls would just be deltas. And so that was the late 90s. People were still saying those things. And even to this day, people still look and, oh, I would never guess that you would be an AKA. Maybe with, my short hair, my kinky curl coils, and, my wide nose. But it does still exist. And it does still impact everything that we do, from how we dress, our self-confidence, job positions. It's, you know, it's still very real in this society. I'm going to stop talking and let you go. I mean, I have stories for days, but um, um, it's still
Right. I think everything that you said is so important. And, you and I had even talked about that. I know when I was going to an HBCU back in the dark ages, um, the AKAs were typically the light skinned girls and the Deltas were the darker skinned girls on the campus that I was on. Because if I had stayed, now I was only there for 1 year, but if I had stayed, to me, automatically, I knew that I would have had to pledge Delta or
yeah,
one of the other sororities because no one that looked like me was an AKA at that time. And so
yeah,
I think that, and we talk about the brown paper bag test and the fact that those kinds of things went on. So, one of the things we also talk about is intraracial colorism and interracial colorism. Intraracial colorism being the colorism that we experience within our own communities, and then the interracial is the colorism that we experience from people outside of our communities. Do you feel that you've experienced it on both sides? I mean, I know that you said you went to a predominantly white school when you were younger. So do you feel that even as you've come up, that you've experienced the same thing within the African American or Black community, whatever term you want to use, as much as you have from communities outside of the African American community?
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, this behavior, right? You know, found its roots in slavery, and it was this division tactic that our slave masters used. You know, within our culture, within our community, it was the darker skinned women usually did the hard labor. We're out in the fields, in the trenches, you know, picking the cotton, you know, carrying the goods, right, that they've cultivated within their day's work. And the lighter skinned women were usually, you know, given lighter tasks, right? And so we kind of see that still perpetuated today, right? You know, in high school, you would kind of see there was like this pitting against the light skinned woman pitted against the dark skinned girl. And I would see so many battles, right? Darker skinned women. I think a lot of us, there was like an offense, right? We kind of felt offended that we weren't catered to like our lighter sisters, right? Our lighter sisters, it felt like there was more of a catering done to them than us, because you know we were the ones that they assumed could fight. I know many of you guys, if you start thinking about to your high school years, the girls in school that really knew how to, you know, fight were the darker skinned women a lot of times, because it just felt like there was this, you know, they needed to kind of prove themselves within the Black community, right? And or, you know, it was just such a frustration, such a rage of not what we're seeing nowadays and not being seen and not feeling heard, right? And so you begin to act out and you send that aggression to the one that is getting the better treatment. So we definitely saw a lot of that, you know, friction within the Black community in the school systems. So going into, you know, as we're getting older and experiencing more and more of life, you do still see it today, right? I mean, you can ask any darker skinned woman, right, what is celebrated? What is celebrated has been for the longest of time the light skinned women, and they've always associated the light skinned woman with good hair, right? And so, you know, being a dark skinned woman and taking a risk, having natural hair, we were always called Miss Sealy, as if that wasn't beautiful, using your, you know, wearing your natural hair. So I definitely still see and experience colorism to this day, not as intensely. I was on a blog site with all of the things that we have going on with
Right.
the protest. And one of the comments that was in the blog post was like, hey, look, you light-skinned people, you guys need to be quiet. You're not experiencing the injustices that dark-skinned people are seeing. So we're still seeing it
Wow.
to this day that, most of
Right.
those, they were kind of pointing out that most of those that we're seeing publicized that have had some type of racial injustice issues were the darker skinned members of the Black community. And so we still see the friction between the two cultures. And it's only really kind of perpetuated through the inter or the
Right.
interracial, right? The whiter
Right.
communities are still perpetuating this concept that, the lighter you are, the better you are. And we're fighting, right? We're fighting against that. And I love to see within, especially the beauty industry, the things that like Rihanna has done. She says, look, all shades are beautiful.
Yeah.
Everybody's inclusive. How many shades does she have? It's like 56 of them.
Right.
Letting us know, hey, get in where you fit in. Everyone, no matter your skin tone, is beautiful. And we have something for you.
Right, right. That is so true. So, how do you feel in regard to your business? Do you feel that you've experienced any colorism as you have navigated the image and style consulting arena? Do you feel that you have experienced any colorism in that arena?
Um, I that's a good question. I think what people are looking for, right, is how you show up. Um, and especially within my industry, this beauty industry, they're looking for, hey, when you walk through that door, do I, number one, A, feel confidence from you? Number two, do you look the part? And I think what's helped us has been, we're starting to see more Black and brown faces permeate fashion magazines, permeate television shows, becoming fashion experts, right? So I think people are becoming a little bit more open. I personally do not have any experiences of whether someone was a little bit more hesitant than choosing me because how darker skinned I was. I think the hesitation was from, because I do have clients of all colors, right? I think the hesitation sometimes comes in, is this African American person able to translate beauty in a whiter culture? Right, and so there's more of a need to prove myself in that space than any other space. Am I able to, the beauty that I see, is it something that they'll be able to identify with?
Got you. Got you. So, how have you been able to now come to this place where you are confident in your skin and you, because I know all the times that I have seen you, and let me say this, Donyelle did a class for us at our church called Imagine Me. And it was such I know it was very impactful on my life because as a dark skinned woman, there's a lot of things that I shy away from color wise. I don't I don't wear bright colors. I'm good in black. If I could wear black all day, every day, I would be good. Other than my head wraps, I tend to shy away
Color.
from color.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that you did instill upon us is to be bold and to be creative. I wore my red lipstick for you today. Because I don't do red lipstick. I wore my red lipstick for you today. But how did you get to that place where now you're able to, you feel good in your skin, you feel comfortable, and you are now willing, because you look fabulous in that pink. How do you get to that? How did you get to that place where now, as this beautiful ebony poppin', melanin poppin' shade, that you can walk in your space and be who you are and do the pink and do the colors?
So can I have a truth moment? I mean, this
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. We're here for truth moments.
It really started to click for me at college. And I know we shouldn't put our value in anybody else, but A&T was like this ground of it just was an empowering ground. It was such a confidence builder being on campus, and people, it was I was the preference, right? So in elementary school or middle school, I was not necessarily the preference. My lighter skinned sisters, they shine bright, right? And so they were more or less the preference. But when I got down south, let me tell you something. The brothers down south, they loved the chocolate skin I was in. And that was such a confidence boost for me. So my parents were always, they always encouraged and said that my siblings and I were beautiful. But it really was not until I got down south where black, literally the phrase black was beautiful was what was felt, what was bred, what was cultivated, in that historical black college and university. And so it was there. I started feeling myself a little bit. I'm like, okay, sis, okay. So I always had like this little like quirky style. I just kind of owned that because I was like, it is what it's gonna be. And going to school down south and being up north, they kind of gave you an extra space of like, oh, they just kind of do their own thing anyway. So I just kind of like owned my style to a certain extent. But I tried out for this modeling organization on campus. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I was like, D, let's just do it. So tried out for this modeling organization called Model Unique at the time. And I got in, shocked, right? And there was another girl that I modeled with. Her name is Nicole. She actually has become my sorority sister now, Nicole Murphy. And we were these two tall, like Amazon women. And it was celebrated. Like when we walked down that runway, we were celebrated because we were so brown skinned, because we were so dark. And my confidence went through the roof. And then not long after that, I did end up pledging, and it was just the place that I needed to find that self-love. And it was no turning back from then. I mean, I had girlfriends, professors, just everyone was just super supportive of, the brown skin that I was in. And it just kind of snowballed into this confidence that was unbreakable. So much so, like after I left A&T, I went into corporate America, and it was just like, you could not tell me nothing, like absolutely nothing. So once I connected on the inside to what was so beautiful, it was unbreakable for me. And so I loved my color. I mean, it was literally the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. It was, I to this day, sit out in the sun to try to get darker.
Right.
Because I felt like it was what made me me. That my complexion, my melanin, the intensity of my melanin made me so special. Not made me so unspecial like back in the day, but it actually enhanced my, kind of my uniqueness in this space, in this life, in this world. So I always now try to do everything to highlight the melanin. So you don't see me in bright colors.
Yes, come on now.
I'm
Yes.
red, I'm gonna wear pink. You are going to get all of this melanin, and you either are gonna like it or you're not, because I love it. So, but it took some time to get there.
Yes. That's awesome. That's awesome. So before we go to a really short break, I want to know what you would say to your 6-year-old self, what you would say to your 16-year-old self, and what you would say to yourself in your 20s. And so when you answer this, because I think it is so important for us to speak life and speak beauty to our children as they're coming up and having to navigate in this world with darker skin, that we speak life to them and that they understand that they are beautiful. They are made in the image of God and they are beautiful. So what would you say to yourself or a 6-year-old? What would you say to yourself at 16 or a 16-year-old? And what would you say to yourself as an early coming into your adulthood as a young woman? What would you say to yourself?
Okay, 6-year-old self. I am absolutely. This is what I would say to the 6-year-old self. I'm putting on the music and I am singing to my 6-year-old self. Brown skin girl, skin just like pearls. I would sing that. I'm so glad Beyonce made that Brown Skin Girl song. It just celebrates the beauty of our melanin, of our skin. It associates it with pearls, like a genuine jewel that's priceless to a certain extent. And so I would make sure that my 6-year-old self knew that knew how beautiful and amazing every color on God's spectrum was. And no matter how light or dark your melanin is, it's all good. And so I would really just reinforce at that young of an age how beautiful that they were, right? And the coloring was just so rich and so reflective of our ancestors and where we came from. So 6-year-old self, 16-year-old self, it would just be like, come on, sis, you got this. Nobody can, your beauty lies within. You make sure no one dictates to you what is beautiful. You look in that mirror and you own it. Don't, take the mirror of the world off the wall and make sure that the reflection you're looking in is in a mirror that you put up, not one that the world puts up, because you are absolutely beautiful. And you are God's gift. That's what I would say to my 16-year-old self, because 16 is when you start, your body's making some changes and boys and, all of that is just happening all at once. And you start, that's kind of when that self-esteem starts being challenged. I would say, shut that mind up that thinks that you are not, gorgeous and beautiful, but continuing to speak life into the 16-year-old self. Now, my 20-year-old self, their Miss Universe that was just crowned from South Africa, she had a saying that, and some beautiful sisters put this saying on a shirt for me for my birthday, and I just love them so much for doing this. And she says that she was a daughter of African soil. Like, do you understand that? So I think, my 20-year-old self intellectually would be able to receive that you are the daughter of African soil, the daughter of African soil, the richness, all of the world's substances are within African soil. That's why there's just so much battling happening over in our African countries, is because of the natural goodness within the ground. And that's what you're made of, is that natural goodness. And so I would just repeat that to her and make sure that was an affirmation, that she was the daughter of African soil.
Absolutely. And I was in Uganda in September, and I'm telling you, when you land, I call it the soul soil connection, because when you land on the soil in Africa, it just does something to you.
It calls you home.
You're home. It calls you home. And it was just so amazing. I think that's so important, what you said, that we've got to know who we are, and we've got to walk in who we know who we are. All of the things that the motherland, like you say, we are the daughters of African soil. And if we can walk in that, as well as knowing who we are in the image of God, Unstoppable. We're going to have a real short commercial, then we'll be back, and Donyelle is going to talk to us about image and style and color. And so hopefully some of us will move into some pink and some blues and some yellows and some greens. I don't know, but she's going to talk to us about it. We'll be right back. All right, we are back with image and style consultant Donyelle Shorter. So, talk to us about image and style and color and how we can begin to, especially as dark skinned women, experiment with more color.
Okay, I think now in this quarantine where we have nothing but time, some of us, right? Now is the best time to play what I call dress up. And it is literally just a time of experimentation where what happens is for many of us, we only start thinking about what we want to wear and right at the time of an event. You have, oh my goodness, I have an event coming up and I don't have anything to wear. So we don't put a lot of thought into it. But one thing that I do is I just spend a lot of time playing dress up. I'll just, if I'm bored at home, that happens every now and again. I'll just go into my closet and start trying on clothes. The one thing about fashion and style I want everyone to know, it is literally just about trying it, right? You can't go wrong because you try something. And so everyone on this planet, God has given us a personal style. We all have our likes and our dislikes, and we see that come across in our music and our choice of music and our interior decoration. I'm sitting in my home now, and as you can see, I have like this bright green wall. If you looked over here, there was like this bright orange wall, and then there's another like yellow orange wall in front of me. So as you can tell, one of my personal styles is I love creativity. And so that's always going to be something that comes across in the things that I do. Once we kind of find out and connect, once anyone finds out and connects to their personal style, getting dressed is going to be so much easier. And so there might be some people just because of their personal style or their job profession, color's not really their thing. But for those that want to try color, I say go ahead and just try it. Especially right now in quarantine, Amazon's delivering. So many people, are still delivering. It's just a matter of us just deciding to step out the box and grab a red lipstick or grab a pink lipstick or order that, purple printed floral dress from Amazon and just give it a try and start learning, what looks good on your skin. And I know it's going to take years of, kind of programming of thinking, oh, no, I can't wear purple or, yellow is just too bright. But it's one of those things where you sit in it for a little bit. Just sit in it and maybe take a picture, send that off to someone, say, what do you think? And no one then going to be like, yes.
So, when we're doing this experimenting and we're trying new things, I would think that we've got to really begin to be sure of who we are and love who we are to be able to not just try it on at home and say, no. You know what I mean? I think that at the same time, we've got to be able to understand who we are, appreciate who we are, love who we are, and be able to be bold enough within ourselves to take it to the world.
Right. So I think we have to do a little bit of, like you were saying, we got to do a little bit of work, right? Some internal work. Why is it that we don't want someone to look at us? Right? Why am I afraid of color? Am I afraid of the attention that it's going to render or garner? And if I'm afraid of the attention, why? Is it because there's some self-esteem work that I need to do? Is it because I don't feel like I deserve the attention? And for a lot of darker skinned women, right, one of the things that we've had to deal with was there was always a promotion of our lighter skinned sisters. A lot of times we were given the scraps or we were made to feel less than. And so we shrunk to the back. We stayed in the back. But that's definitely not, where we should remain. Right? We need to step to the forefront. But there's work that we're gonna have to do internally with ourselves, right? Whether it's daily affirmations, because that helps, right? You are kind, you are beautiful. Because what you begin to, like the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he. So there's some work, there's some renewing of the mind that's gonna have to happen in this journey, in this process. That's going to allow you to expand your view and your vision of yourself. One thing that I had to do every now and again in the image industry, I go through bouts of self-esteem, right? And I begin literally to pray, because sometimes it could be an attack situation, right? Something that doesn't want me to walk in the fullness of who God is or who God made me. So I just begin to pray, right? And take those thoughts captive and just like, those don't belong here. The Bible says that I am fearfully, intrinsically, wonderfully made, that He took time in sculpting my nose and time in sculpting, every aspect of my body. So there's work that's going to be done all along the way. Confident people do every now and again run into times of non-confidence. And I can tell you, even in this quarantine, I have struggled. I have not had a haircut. I had to go back to the basics of finding that inner beauty we were talking about. And once you connect to there, once you silence the noise, once you eradicate those self-defeating thoughts, that's when you can fully step into, who you are. And that takes work. That takes prayer. That takes meditation. That takes reading. That takes, eliminating the toxic people around you that may be reinforcing that toxic mindset. So it's a daily work. It's a daily work. But as long as you're committed to doing it, beautiful things will begin to grow, right? Out of that
Right.
African soil.
Right. So do you think that basically we can wear any color at all, or do you think that there are colors that we should stay away from?
Oh, absolutely not. I think every color on God's beautiful spectrum we can wear. Now, what it may be an intensity level. So this is a conversation I'm having more towards my brown skin, melanated individuals. It's really start thinking of yourself as this perfect canvas and finding the intensity of color or the shade of color that works best for your skin tone, right? But I don't think that, because you're dark skin or because you have melanin in your pigmentation, that, I have to stay away from yellows. No, yellows look amazing on, brown skin, right? Purples, pinks, whites. It just might be your shade of that particular color. So even browns. So for me, I can wear a brown. The brown that will probably look best on me is either going to be a shade darker than I am to show some contrast in my skin tone, or a shade under just to show the contrast. I really honestly feel that you can wear every single color. It's just the shading. Where in that shading gradient, do you fall from a skin coloring standpoint? But, reds, absolutely. Will it be fire engine red that looks best on you? Or will it be more of like a cherry red? Or a red that has more of an orange undertone. So it's just a matter of trying it and seeing.
Right. Right. So if we talk about knowing exactly what our particular style is, how do we determine or figure out exactly what our style is? And then when you're talking about image, if we want to project a certain image, because I know we talked about all the different styles and the different images, and
Yeah.
Tom, whether you're a tomboy or whether you're a cutesy, that's the term I can think of right now, or whether
Right.
you're
Yeah, that's the
you
feminine.
have a more of a distinguished kind of style. That's the way that you like to come across. And so when we begin to talk about our image and our style, how do we really begin to know what that is if we're not sure?
Okay. So, and there's some tools that we have available that will help in this journey, but there's 7 personal styles, and that the classes and the books teach, right, from an image consulting standpoint. There's the traditional, There is the feminine. There's the alluring. There is oh my goodness, why did I just draw a complete blank? So we have the creative, we have the dramatic, we have the sporty, right? So there's 7 personal style, and it's basically get in where you fit in. A lot of times, our life's passion, our life's work will help us, or it shapes our personal style. So, perfect example. Let's say if you're an athlete, right? More often than not, you might have more of a sporty personal style. Let's look at even like Ellen DeGeneres. She's one that has more of a a sporty personal style. And a lot of times what happens is those that have different personal styles, there's colors that become more friendly to you, or there's colors that are drawn to you, or you're drawn more to them. So for creatives, I have 3 personal styles. So I have a creative personal style, I have an alluring personal style, and I have a feminine personal style. And with each of those, there's kind of colors that are associated to those personal styles. So for a creative, it's literally all about I it's like I want to be seen, I want to be heard. I'm throwing it all together. It makes sense in my mind, and that's all that matters. No one else needs to get it or understand it. It's just what I'm doing. And a lot of times that personal style likes more louder colors, right? It's more kind of, hey, look at me, look at me. Someone that has more of an elegant or traditional personal style, and a lot of times the professions that are associated with the traditional personal style is what we see is like workwear. So kind of those that are in corporate America. In my program, I use Condoleezza Rice. If you guys can visually see Condoleezza Rice, she was kind of always in a coordinated suit, right? Whether it's a skirt suit or pantsuit. Her personal style is a little bit more traditional, kind of dictated sometimes by the corporate American dress code. And so you didn't see a ton of bright suits in corporate America. You would see more of the neutral colors, the blues and the blacks. And so the work environment, your work culture, kind of sometimes dictates your uniform, what you wear, right? So I have one client. She is CEO of an organization. So she, of course, dictates the direction of her company. So she says, hey, look, Donyelle, I have to, wear kind of suits for work, but I love bright colors. So literally within her wardrobe, I look for yellows, purples, fuchsia, greens, any color to make sure that her personality comes across in what is a more traditional work environment. But that's her personal style. So we find that synergy between your personal style and whatever your work environment it may be, or whatever the event you're dressing for may be. It's all about creating the synergy between who you are on the inside and connecting it to whatever the event is, your work environment, or your personal goals.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think that when we are truly true to ourselves and we understand who we are and we become the women that we want to be, that we will develop that personal style and be comfortable with it. I think a
Yeah, and
lot
it
of it,
took me
like
a
you
while
said,
to
is some of
find
it's
that.
an issue. Some of it's an issue of self-esteem, and we've got to get to the place where we are comfortable with who we are
Yeah,
and we're
showing
willing
up
to
authentic.
walk into the world bold like that.
Yeah. So in one of my corporate America days, I had a managing partner. I showed up to work. I was in this like bright yellow dress, and I had on some wooden kind of African inspired earrings. I think I had just got them from a Dune Day festival. And please know I am mourning the fact that a Dune Day will not be happening this year, but we'll move forward.
Yeah.
And so I put these wooden, they were like a little bit bigger earrings with my look, and I walked into the office and she was like, "Oh wow, you look so nice." And she said, "Look at those earrings; they're so creative." I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I just kind of chose to be a little bit, bolder today." And she said, "I love that." She said, "How can I get the best from you if you're not authentically showing up, right?" And so, if we're not authentically showing up in the world, how do you think that we can give the world our best if we're not being true to who we are? And so
Mhm.
finding out who you are is the work. That's where the work is. Working with someone like me from an image standpoint, that's easy. The questions I'm going to ask my clients is going to be, what are the goals? What are you trying to do? Who are you? Can you show me who you are through pictures? And that I can help build that image for you, or help you evolve into this person you feel you are on the inside.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is so important for us as women to get to that place where we truly know who we are. And it's like you said, it's a process and it
It's a
takes
process.
work. There are some people who, even later in life are still trying to figure out exactly who they are, because many times we've been molded to be someone other than our authentic self.
Yeah.
And we then have to go ahead and say, okay, so, who really am I? What is it that I really value? Who is it that I really want to be? Who is it that I really want to show up as? And when we can get to that place where
Yeah.
we fully understand who we are and we can appreciate the color of our skin and we can navigate in the world knowing that we are beautiful, dark skinned Black women. We always say that we're changing the narrative on dark skin. It is ebony beauty, it is mahogany beauty. That's what dark skin means. It's melanin popping beauty, it's sun kissed
Melanin popping.
beauty, it's all of that. That's what it is. And so when we get to that place where we are really walking in that and going forth as bold as we can be and loving ourselves, so much of it is loving ourselves and getting away from the self hatred
Yes.
of our skin
Yeah.
and not wanting to be this color. Because I know
Yeah.
one of the things that I always share in one of my poems is that, God, why did you make me so brown? But I had to learn that the brown is beautiful and everything with God is beautiful. In Psalm
Mhm.
139, when you read it in the Message Bible, it talks about God being breathtaking. So if he's breathtaking and I'm made in his image, that means that I am
And
breathtaking and
breathtaking.
I am fearfully and marvelously made. And when we can really hold on to that and walk in that, we will go forth in boldness and in beauty and know exactly who we are and what we bring to the world
Yeah. Yeah.
once we really decide to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today. I so appreciate you and your beautiful self.
I had so much fun. So here's the
If
thing.
you
Make
could
no
just tell
question.
us any
This is
closing.
the first time I've gotten dressed up in a little while. I've been walking
Well, you look absolutely fabulous as you always do. Always. I have never ever seen you not. I don't care if you had sweats on. You were still absolutely fabulous. You just are. You just are. You just are. And it's it's just amazing. It is amazing. Always fabulous.
put on a little bit of lipstick today. That's the only thing about the mask, right? The mask that we're forced to wear has taken my color from me. So I'm still wearing, I'm putting on my red lips underneath the mask and getting back at home and celebrating it.
Absolutely. So I want you to give us any closing remarks that you have and where people can find you, where they can connect with you, and any programs that you have going on, or any products, or whatever it is you want to tell us, and how we can contact you.
Um, so closing remarks, that kind of that that kind of closing remarks. What do I want to say? Lord help me. Um, I think the biggest thing of it is that there was thought put into who you are and how you were going to show up in the world and what you were going to be assigned to accomplish. This wasn't by accident, it was extremely intentional. The fact that you were made in that beautiful color that you abide in, the fact that you're highly melanated or not, but there was thought put in. Can you imagine the Father sitting around a table and, Jesus and the Holy Spirit just talking about you and saying, okay, I need this person to be born into this world, into this time, into this day, because there is something that I want this person to accomplish in life. And I just want you guys to know that there was intentionality placed on you to bring you into existence, and that you're here for a reason. And we need you to authentically show up in this world to accomplish the very thing and the very purpose that God has ordained for you and designed for you to accomplish here in this very moment. And no matter the obstacles that you endure, I don't want your skin coloring to be one that prohibits you from completing this mission and assignment. And I want you to do it feeling your absolute best. There's a saying that we have, it's called when you look good, you feel good. Or maybe we should flip that. When you feel good, you look good. And that confidence is immeasurable. When you're walking around fully confident in who you are a force to be reckoned with. So I just want to let you guys know that I love you, that I am here on this journey with you, whatever help that I can be into ensuring that you are walking in that confidence to complete your life's purpose. Please reach out to me. You can find me on kind of any social media platform. You can just search my name, Donyelle Shorter. And I'm on Instagram at DGS Imagery. I'm on Facebook at Imagery LLC. And yeah, so let's just communicate. And then the website, I'm actually launching a brand new website. So stay tuned for that. And I'll show you some new stuff that we have going on. But feel free to connect. And I'll probably do a couple of these kind of webinars as we kind of, the world opens back up and everyone will start needing to look and feel their best. So stay tuned to some webinars that we'll have kind of coming out.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You know I love you. You know I love you with all my heart, girl. I love you.
I love you so
And I
much.
miss you.
Thank you so much for having me and chatting with me. And thank you for making the world a better place. Thank you for helping us to walk fully in our beautiful skin that God has, adorned on us. So thank you for the work that you're doing. It is making a difference.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'll see you in just a few minutes.
Okay. You all have a good one.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We are so honored to have had Donyelle Shorter here with us, image and style consultant, to talk with us about her journey through colorism and about image and style. It was just incredible. I thank you all for joining us. Next Sunday, this coming Sunday, we're usually on Sundays at 12 p.m. This coming Sunday, we will be with Nicole Corbin Shaw is going to be here with us on Sunday, and she's going to talk about her journey as well. And we just appreciate you being here. And I want to always, as I always say, 1 Corinthians 13 says, if I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I am as a sounding brass or tinkling cymbal. So if I can't see past my pain and acknowledge yours, it's all noise. And we don't want to be noise. There's enough noise in the world. We don't want to be noise. We want to be love. So be blessed. Have a wonderful, incredible week. Thank you for joining us here on Beautiful Color Conversations. Be blessed. Yeah.